So here we can see that we were discussing about democracy, definition we have discussed, features we have discussed, and merits of democracy in the previous class we have discussed. Okay. Can anyone just tell me what are the merits we have learned? What are the merits of democracy we have learned in the last class?
Democracy is
Gauri, no? Who is answering me? Gauri?
Yeah.
Tell me, Gauri.
It is an accountable form of government.
Yes.
Democracy improves the quality of decision making.
Uh.
Provides a method to deal with differences and conflicts.
Differences and conflicts. Okay, enough. Afreen, what are the other points we have discussed? Afreen is present today. Sirisha, tell me, what are the other points we have discussed? So it is accountable form of government, and it solves the disputes and conflicts.
No one is a permanent winner.
Is a permanent winner or loser?
No,
The
Sirisha,
democracy enhances the dignity of a person, a citizen.
Hardik is answering. Tell me, Hardik, then.
All of them or the leftover point?
Leftover points, you tell.
Okay, so the democracy, no one is a permanent winner
or loser. That means that the ruling party is having
equal opportunity to lose.
Good opportunity to lose the election. Okay. Then what is the next point?
Democracy, like it allows it to correct, like it allows us to correct its own mistakes.
Okay, we can correct our mistake. Whatever decision we have taken, we can correct it again. Then what is the last point?
It enhances the dignity of
the citizen. Okay, I told you that from subject to citizen, it is giving more importance to the citizen, and it enhances the dignity of the citizen. It's giving privileges to the citizen. Okay, so these are the merits we have.
Based on the principle of political equality.
Political equality. Through that, it enhances the dignity of the citizen. So these are the merits we have discussed in the previous class. Now we will move to the next topic, that is, what are the demerits of democracy? We cannot say that democracy is a magical solution. It will solve all the problems in the country. If it is a magical solution, means it would have wiped out poverty from India, isn't it? So we can say that there are certain demerits for democracy. So today we'll be discussing about the demerits of democracy. The first point, we can say that you just try what will be the demerits of democracy.
This government will be unstable because like leaders keep changing. That's why.
Who is that?
Ma'am, Sparsh.
Sparsh, tell me. Make it clear.
Yeah. So there will be an instability in the government.
Instability. There will be political instability because the leaders keep on changing in democracy. So there is political instability. Next. Tanvir is answering. One by one. Tanvir, tell me.
Ma'am, there's a lot of corruption also in the leaders.
And ma'am, unfair decisions.
Unfair decisions. Sometimes
ma'am, the newly elected leaders do not know the best interest of the people.
Correct. So the whatever decision the leaders are taking, we cannot say that it will be the best decision. Okay, so we can say that there are lots of demerits. We cannot say democracy is the magical solution for solving all the problems in the country. It is having certain demerits. So today we will be discussing the demerits. The first point, we can say that leaders keep changing in it. As Sparsh has told, leaders keep changing in a democracy. This leads to instability. This leads to political instability. For example, they will start with some developmental project, and we can see that after the election, the next form of government next party will come to power. They may not be interested in that particular project. So all these issues will happen, and also we can say that it leads to instability in the country. Second point, democracy is all about political competition and power play. So the ultimate aim of each and every political party is to win the election. Okay, so the ultimate aim, we can understand that if they are getting maximum vote, definitely they will come to power. So they will try to use all the dirty tricks and malpractices to win the election. There is no scope for morality. The third point is elected leaders do not know the best interest of the people. It leads to bad decisions. See, these elected representatives are also, they don't know what is good for the people, what is the demand of the people. Sometimes the decision, whatever they are taken, will not satisfy the interest of the people. Next point, democracy leads to corruption, for it is based on electoral competition. So sometimes we can see that within the political party there will not be democracy. What is meant by that? Within the political party there is no democracy. What does it mean? Uditi, answer me.
Mom, could you repeat the question?
Within the political party there will not be democracy. What does it mean?
Ma'am, like the people of higher posts, they only can take the decisions, so everyone's opinions are
Exactly,
not taken.
correct. So maybe the senior member will be always taking the decision, or with money and other influence, he will dominate the other members, and other members will not be having equal opportunity to take the decision. So we can see within the political party, there will not be sometimes, there will not be democracy, or they will not have democratic practices within the political party. Again, coming to the next point, ordinary people don't know what is good for them. They should not decide anything. So we know that these elected representatives are also
But ma'am,
ordinary
this
people.
point is wrong.
Which point?
The last point, like the people do know what is good for them, just that every person has a different opinion. So the fifth point is moreover it's wrong.
2, 3, 4, fifth. Ordinary people don't know what is good for them.
No, they do know what is good for them, but everyone has a different opinion.
Everyone, each one is having their own perception, their own opinion. Okay. So, no, I am saying ordinary people don't know means the elected representative. They are also like ordinary people like us, no? Okay, they don't know what is good for them, or they don't know what is good for the people. So, whatever decision they are taken will not be a proper decision. Okay, so in a democracy, we cannot say that or whatever decision the elected representatives are taking is the best decision for the people. So here, the demerits of democracy, we have here 5 points to learn. First point is leaders keep changing. It leads to political instability. Second point, democracy is all about political competition. They try to use all the malpractices and dirty tricks to win the election to form the government. Elected leaders doesn't know. Elected leaders also, they don't know. Even ordinary people also, we can say, like us, we don't know what sometimes I'm telling you, sometimes we don't know what is good for them. Okay, and whatever decision we are taking also, sometimes it will not be having a positive effect on us. Okay, again coming to the fourth point, democracy leads to corruption, for it is based on electoral competition. So these are the important demerits what we have to discuss about democracy. So in the previous class we learned there are lots of arguments in favor of democracy, but at the same time we have to understand that democracy is not the best form of government to implement. It's having its own limitation, it's having its own demerits. Atharva asked the doubt, no, ordinary people. Who asked the doubt?
No, ma'am, Aya.
Who is that?
Ayan.
It was Ayan.
Ayan. Okay. So Ayan, just understand that here the third point is elected leaders do not have the best interest of the, do not know the best interest of the people. In the same way, even ordinary people like us also will not be having the, will not be knowing what is good for them at times. Okay, that is what it is explaining. They should not decide anything. Sometimes we don't know what is good for them and how to come to a conclusion. Okay, so because of all these reasons, we know that in democracy, we have freedom of expression. You have to understand the last point in such a way that each and every person is having the freedom of speech and expression. So sometimes ordinary people, what we are demanding will not be a correct decision. That's what it means actually. Ayan, is it clear now?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, these points, it's better you people have to note it down because it is not given in your textbook. Distinguish between democratic and non-democratic government. All of you have to write down. First of all, you just switch on your videos. I can't see anybody here. Tanveer, Dheer, Uditi, please, all of you. Okay, now start writing the points. Distinguish between non-democratic and democratic government. The first point is, democracy is the best form of government as the rulers are accountable to the people and have to fulfill their needs. But just opposite to that in the non-democratic government. So please note it down, all of you. Here, start writing. Democracy is the best form of government. In a simple way, you can write, it is you just write democratic government, non-democratic government, and separate it, draw the line, and under democratic government, you just write down accountable to the people. That is enough. Accountable to the people. Tanveer, have you written? Accountable to the people. Yeah, accountable to the people. And the non-democratic government, you will write not accountable. Non-democratic government, you can write not accountable. No need to explain these points, no? I hope you understood already.
Ma'am, only 1 point for each is enough.
No, it's there. It's there. In this slide, only 1 point is there. Okay. So first point you will write accountable. Second, in non-democratic you will write not accountable. Now the second point is people elect their rulers. People elect their
previous slide.
Write fast.
Ma'am, I have one doubt. Ma'am, we should write the whole thing, or which you said we should write that
one? I told you no. Under democratic government, you just write down accountable to the people. First point, accountable to the people, and below non-democratic government, you will write not accountable to the people.
Okay, ma'am.
Rulers are not accountable to the people. We'll move to the next slide.
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Karunya finished?
Yes, ma'am.
So here in a democratic government, second point you can write people elect the rulers. People elect the rulers. Next, non-democratic government you will write people do not elect the rulers. People do not elect the rulers. Third point, Parliament is a separate body and has no interference of army. We have learned Parvez Musharraf. He was the chief of the army and how he turned from executive to what position he has taken last executive to president. So here we can say that in a democratic government, Parliament is a separate body and has no interference of army. The Parliament is a separate body and has no interference of army. Army cannot question the Parliament. Parliament can take its own decision. But in a non-democratic government, Parliament cannot pass a law without the permission of the chief of the army. Parliament cannot pass a law about the army without the consent of the chief of the army. So here, non-democratic government, the army chief is having an important role. Okay, the Parliament cannot take its own decision. Hardik, are you writing?
Ma'am, can you repeat the second point of the democratic and non-democratic government?
Democratic government, people elect the rulers. People elect the rulers.
Like that.
People don't elect the rulers, have no right in decision. People are not having any right in decision making. You just see the slide. Abhiraj, just see the slide. You can see now.
Yeah.
Third point, Parliament is a separate body and has no interference of army. And here, non-democratic, you can write Parliament cannot pass a law without the about the army without the consent of the chief of the army.
Okay, ma'am.
Again, we can say that democratic government, people can aspire to contest election for any post. They can stand for election in any post without any irrespective of his or her caste, religion, socio-economic and educational background, which means the right to vote is available to all citizens. That point is enough. You just write down right to vote is available to all citizens. Right to vote is available to all citizens. Under non-democratic countries, citizens of the country have no right to vote.
Ma'am?
There will be elections, but it will not be equally, there will not be a free and fair election, we can say.
Ma'am?
Saudi Arabia, Estonia, Fiji. Sujan, why in Saudi Arabia we cannot call it as a democratic country?
Because the Saudi Arabian women don't get a vote.
The same way we have learned about Estonia. What happened in Estonia?
I have a question. I have a doubt. Ma'am, in this democratic point, there are 2 points embedded in this one thing, and they both are completely different. Like the first part is about why the citizen can contest in the elections. The second one is for right to vote. So which one do we write? Both or?
Both you can write. All the people, we have learned certain qualification to stand for election in the last grade we have learned.
Yes.
MLAs and MPs, what are the qualifications? Are you remembering?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
So if they are following, if they have that qualifications, the candidates is having, definitely they can stand for election. Irrespective
Ma'am, but they
of
should
their
not be
caste,
criminals, right?
criminal background, sound mind,
Sound
25
mind,
years,
must
so
not be
it's
bankrupt,
25
years,
Yeah.
citizen of India.
Yeah, correct.
But ma'am,
correct,
who
correct.
decides whether they have a sound
Here,
mind?
to cast our vote, we need only universal adult
Psychiatrist.
franchise. That is 18 years of
Are you sure?
age. 18
yeah.
years of age. Okay.
Ma'am. But
Some
who decides
government
whether they have a
appoint-
sound mind?
Some government appointed psychiatrist or something, no?
Sound mind who
Something
will
like that.
decide.
But
But
he
how will
told
they
that
decide? He has a sound mind, he doesn't.
We know that most of the people are representing their political parties. So the members definitely, and whom they will make to stand for the election, you tell me. The person with unsound mind, they will make to stand for election. Ayan, tell me.
No, ma'am.
So the political party, they will decide who should stand for this particular constituency, who will be the best person, because everybody's ultimate aim is to win the election. So they cannot select the person who is unsound or who is having certain criminal backgrounds and all. Okay, they will see each and everything, then only they will nominate. They will get the party tickets, we can say, in detail.
Okay.
but you told that women in Saudi got put in to 2011.
Yeah. But that too only in the local elections. No, I told that.
Not in the
clearly,
central
only,
election.
not in the main post.
So it's still not democratic.
Correct. Now, the second point here, you can write right to vote and also right to contest election under democratic. Under non-democratic, you can write the citizen of the country have no right to vote.
Ma'am, what is socio-economic?
Socio-economic means that if they are economic status, rich or poor.
Okay.
Now coming to the democratic, we can see that democracy is based on consultation, and in democratic government, people enjoy their right of discussion. That point is just, it's easy to understand. And under non-democratic government is based on dictatorship, and the ruler does what he wishes. So here we know that a democratic government, the government they have to listen to the people, and the people are playing an important role in democratic government. But in dictatorship and other form of government, the person, he can take the final decision, and people are not having any freedom to express their views and opinion. The last point is very, very easy. There are free and fair election in democratic country, and in a non-democratic government, elections are either not held, or if held, they are not fair enough, rather they are imposing. Got the point? So
ma'am, I have a doubt. Ma'am,
Sanjana, tell me.
ma'am, in the previous point, non-democratic government, you said that the citizens of country have no right to vote, right? But in countries like Mexico, you said that like the leaders win by playing dirty tricks, but the people still vote, right? Even though it is so how does that point exactly make sense? Like, are they missing out something or anything like that? Because the point says
what you have to understand that though Mexico election is happening, but the rulers are taking the role of a dictator. Okay, so there is no freedom for press, media, and if please mute the audio, all of you, please. Children.
Mute.
What is this? So, Sanjana, please listen carefully. Yes, so, Mexico, we have learned that which party is winning the election in Mexico?
In
PRI. Institutional Revolutionary Party. Okay, and people are voting because they are playing the role of like, we can say the dictatorship or dictator only, like they are forcing the people to vote. Government officers, those who are working in government office, they have to cast their vote to this particular party, and the government school teachers will force their parents to vote for this particular party, and they will always ignore. The media always support the ruling party, that is PRI, and also we have learned that if anything is written against the party, the media will be harassed, and also media always ignore the good work done by the opposition party. Understood? So people are forced to cast their vote to.
So not on their choice.
Not on their choice. Exactly. Okay.
Thank you,
ma'am.
Ma'am.
Okay. Now,
ma'am, what does PRI stand for?
You just tell me. I have explained.
I forgot.
Who is that?
Nidhi.
Nidhi, tell me.
Go back to the previous slide, please.
Institutional Revolutionary Party.
But that doesn't make sense. It should be
that
IR.
also, Nidhi, that also I have clarified that day. What was that, Sujon? Tell me.
Ma'am, can you go back to the previous slide?
I was asking the previous slide. Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
You have to be attentive in the class. Right? Okay, you have to be attentive in the class. Okay. Institutional Revolutionary Party, Nidhi. Okay. Institutional Revolutionary Party, PRI. And I told you why it is called as, why it is not calling IRP, it is why it is called as PRI. Who can answer me?
Due to some Spanish.
Spanish. If you take Spanish, it's PRI. The initials will become PRI.
Correct. That's all. Now we'll move. Have you finished this?
Ma'am, can you just give me 1 minute?
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So you just make it short and complete it. Free and fair election. The non-democratic government election are either it held, but it is not in a proper free and fair manner. Now, there is freedom of expression and people enjoy their fundamental rights. Example, India, there is no freedom of expression and people do not enjoy their fundamental rights. Example, Saudi Arabia, Zimbabwe.
Ma'am, can you give an example of a country other than India for democratic?
UK.
For democratic.
US.
There's a king also in UK.
Yeah, US, but then the king has no say.
United. USA is a democratic country.
No, ma'am, that's only bi-party. There are only two parties.
Yeah, even UK is also bi-party.
UK also bi-party.
Ma'am, is there any country like India, like there are many parties?
Many parties.
France.
I will check it and tell. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
But we can understand that USA is also a democratic country, but still whatever decision Modi is taken here for this, for example, this corona, the decision what Trump is taken is not followed by other states. What is the reason for that?
Provincial,
no, he was never a part of the decision-making progress.
That means here in India, we all the states are subordinate to the central government. Correct, no? Whatever central government is taken, the decision we have to follow. But in USA, though it's a democratic country, though it's a federal country, what is federal meaning? Federal?
It has state government and then
the central government. Existence of 2 or more levels of government. So there we can say that the state governments are not much subordinate to the central government. Okay. So the last point you have written, no, all of you? Have you done?
Yes, ma'am.
So,
ma'am, India is multi-party, right?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Obviously.
So here,
even Pakistan is multi-party.
But that's not a democracy because of
it's not a democracy
because of that guy.
Democracy means we are electing our representative, and the final decision taking will be done by the representative, those who are elected. So here we
Pakistan now is a democratic country, right? Before it was not.
Correct. After Pervez Musharraf, we know that, and before also it was a democratic country. When he came to power only, it has turned to, like, though election is happening, but the final decision was taken by Pervez Musharraf. Okay.
Yes.
So here the distinguish between democratic and non-democratic. First point, accountable, non-accountable. Second point, rulers are having the right to take the decision. The elected rulers are not having the right to take decision, and parliament is a separate body and there is no interference of the army. And non-democratic, we can say that the chief of the army can have certain roles to play there. And next point, we have learned that there will be people have the right to stand for election, contest election, and also right to vote. Again, the next non-democratic people have no right, they don't have the right to vote. Again, people enjoy the right of discussion. In non-democratic government, they are not enjoying that. Again, free and fair election. The non-democratic government, election may happen, but it is not free and fair manner. It is not conducted in a free and fair manner. And the last point is freedom of expression, and people enjoy their fundamental rights. Here, people are not having the freedom. Through press, media, and all, they cannot express anything. Everything will be harassed by the ruling party. That we have very clearly learned from the example of Saudi Arabia, Zimbabwe, Mexico, and all. Now we will move to the next. What is meant by direct democracy and what is indirect democracy? Can anybody tell me, India is a direct democracy or indirect democracy?
Indirect democracy.
Indirect democracy.
Sparsh, why it's indirect democracy?
India is indirect democracy because in this one, like, people themselves do not make the laws. The government makes the laws on the people's, like, opinions, etc.
Correct. So here we can say that direct democracy means people all will sit together and they will make the law. Okay, so this direct democracy can happen only if the population, small country, geographically small countries, and if the population is very less, it is possible. Indirect democracy means in India, we are following indirect democracy because the population is high and also geographically very large country. So we are electing our representative, and these representatives are these representatives are making the laws for us. But direct democracy, people themselves makes the law. Did you understand the clear difference? Direct democracy, it's a political setup where the people themselves makes the law and parliament directly in the functioning of the government, and decisions are taken on the basis of the majority of opinion. So they all will sit together and they will take the decision. So you can write the example of ancient Greek and Rome. 1 minute, let me explain. And modern period, we can say Switzerland. Okay, but when we are considering to indirect democracy, India, we can say the example of indirect democracy. In modern world, most of the countries are following indirect democracy because we are electing the representatives, and these representatives are making the law on behalf of the people. But in direct democracy, these people themselves, they are making the law. But in indirect democracy, these elected members are making the laws on behalf of the people. And they are so sensitive to satisfy or cater the needs and opinion of the people. So here you can write the example of 1 minute. India, France, and USA. The previous direct democracy, you can write Switzerland. Now you ask me.
Which is better, indirect or direct?
That is depending upon the size of the country, depending upon which is better. You tell me. According to you, which is better?
Ma'am, in direct democracy.
For me, it's direct.
Direct means we are becoming a part of that. No, here we are just casting our vote and our work is done. These elected representatives are taking the decision. Okay.
Ma'am, in direct democracy, they're also making the laws with the interest of the people also.
Both they will see. See here also, I have explained. No, they act on behalf of the people, and they are so sensitive to cater the needs and opinion of the people. So here you have to understand that. So we can say that within India, 1 minute, listen carefully. Within India also we can see direct democracy. Where we can see direct democracy? In India, certain level of government are following direct democracy.
Ma'am, like the states like Tripura and all these places where tribes are there.
Panchayati Raj.
Exactly. Who is that? Alakmar?
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. Local self-government. Exactly. So, tell me. So, we can say that. Tell me.
Ma'am, could you explain direct democracy once more?
Direct democracy
I have a doubt
is
in
a
direct.
political setup where people themselves makes the law. So if the population is less, for example, as Alakmar has told, I asked you which within India we can see the direct democracy is practicing in which level of government, local self-government, where the people sit together and like Panchayati Raj and all, we can see that they can decide. Though the Panch will be there and the Sarpanch will be there, but still people also are becoming Gram Sabha, we have learned. All the members will become the part of that. So they can take their own decision. But in indirect democracy, we will just elect our representative and these representatives will make the laws on behalf of the people. So direct democracy, people themselves makes the law, but indirect democracy, we are electing the representative. These representatives will make the law on behalf of the people. That is the main difference. Along with that, you can write the example of the countries. Switzerland, you can write, and ancient Greek, Rome, and again here, India, France, USA, you can write. Okay.
But ma'am, for the example of Switzerland, now you see when Switzerland has a king and a queen, so how are they counted as democracy then?
Exactly.
It's a democratic country only, no? Switzerland.
But they also have a king and a queen. It can be monarchy or democracy.
Constitutional monarchy.
So one thing you look at, all the European countries, the monarchy doesn't have any more power anymore.
Power is invested with the elected representatives.
But ma'am, there is still a king and a queen, right?
Then Britain
they
also
don't have
same
power.
thing, no?
Ma'am, but they don't take any decisions.
It is based on the constitution, constitutional monarchy. So in Britain also same thing, no?
I just feel like that due to the respect, like.
It is basically like a royal family who gets all the taxes and everything. And they just live life simply. They have nothing to do except for all the major decisions.
The real power is, we know, we have learned last year about real power and nominal power. Okay, so the real power will be invested with the elected people. So here, next, the last topic what we have to learn from this chapter is broader meanings of democracy. So if I'm saying that my family is a democratic family, what does it mean?
Ma'am, not only the head of family gets to take decisions, but everybody is part of the decision. That
Aditya, tell me. Aditya, tell me. If Aditya's family is a democratic family, what does it mean? Louder. Aditya, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Tell me.
But ma'am, only like the people who are under 18 will be allowed to take decisions.
No, I'm asking, Tanvir, you just listen. Okay, I'm asking Aditya, if I'm saying Aditya's family is a democratic family, what does it mean?
Ma'am, I can't hear you.
Who will answer then? Soham. Soham is completely upside down. Tell me.
Ma'am, in my
Ma'am, it
family
means
there is
that everyone has
dictatorship,
equal
ma'am.
right in the family.
In family, no election will happen. No. So here we can say that a democratic family means each and every person is having the they can express their decision, or they can the final decision will be depending upon everybody's opinion.
Yeah,
Okay.
ma'am, but some
Father
families there's
himself cannot
dictatorship,
take the
ma'am.
final decision. He can ask mom, and if anybody else is there, they can discuss together and they will take the decision. And also, if I am saying a democratic classroom, what does it mean? So John,
No,
a democratic classroom.
not 8C, not 8C.
Democratic classroom means?
Not 8C.
Not 8C. Tell me. Democratic classroom means? Generally.
We elect the class teacher.
No, not class teacher. Means children also can ask, or they can also express their views. So
Like
here
that. Okay.
we are going to learn about the broader meanings of democracy. So I told you that democracy is not the final solution for solving all the issues. Sometimes we can see that when we are learning about economic growth, in a dictatorship, the growth will be better than democratic. Are you agreeing with me? In a dictatorship government, the economic growth will be better than the democratic government. Is it true? Is the statement is correct?
Can you repeat it, ma'am?
In a dictator form of government, the economic growth will be faster than the democratic government.
Ma'am, it depends on the dictator.
Ma'am, people will follow everything in dictatorship, so obviously the economic thing will be more.
So
in democracy, no one follows.
Correct. We can come to a conclusion that in a dictatorship, definitely the growth will be more than the democracy. We have learned already democracy, political instability, decision making is a long process. Dictator means he can take the decision according to his own will. Okay, he need not to check with others or anything. But in democracy, they have to, the representatives, elected representative have to satisfy the needs of the people. So the decision making will be a slow process. So definitely the economic growth also will be affected. So we can say that 100% economic growth will be more in the dictatorship than the democratic government. So under the broader meanings of democracy, we have to learn that on this chapter we understood the meaning of democracy in a limited and descriptive sense. We have understood democracy is a form of government. The most common form that democracy takes in our times is that of representative democracy. Representative democracy means indirect democracy. The elected representatives will take the decision. In the countries we call democracy, all the people do not rule. Majority is allowed to take decision on behalf of the people. Okay, so we can say that in democracy, the majority of people rule through the elected representative. Modern democracies involve such a large number of people that all these things I have discussed with the direct and indirect democracy. Modern democracies involve such a large number of people that it is physically impossible for them to sit together and take collective decision. And even if they could, the citizen does not have the time, the desire, or the skills to take part in all the decisions. So because of that, we can say that most of the countries are indirect democracy. Direct democracy means the population should be less and also geographical area also should be small. And only we can have direct democracy, otherwise it will be indirect democracy. So the next is how we can, what is the aim of a good democracy? The true democracy will come to this country only when no one goes hungry to bed. What does it mean? True democracy will come to this country only when no one goes hungry to bed.
And there's no poverty.
That means there's
no poverty and
everyone
is equally.
Everyone is equal.
Because we know that the basic necessary requirements, food. Okay, so the first and foremost thing we can say that in a true democracy, the country only nobody should go hungry to bed. That means that where the government has to take care of the what needs of the people. They have to give, we know that through a proper PDS system, public distribution system, they have to provide rations and other things to the people. So everybody should be happy in democracy. So the democratic government should take measures to wipe out poverty from the country. And in a democracy, every citizen must be able to play equal role in decision making. For this, you don't need just an equal right to vote. We cannot say that if we have political right. What is meant by political right? What is political right? Political right is right to
politics.
Politics, sir. What is that? Political right. Here in India, we have political right, political equality. Right to
vote.
Vote. That is political right. So in a democracy, every citizen must be able to play equal role in decision making. For this, you don't need just an equal right to vote. Every citizen needs to have equal information, basic education, equal resources, and lot of commitment. So in a true democracy, we can say that, or the aim of the democracy is to satisfy the needs of the people.
That's enough. It's over.
Who is that?
It's Siddharth.
Okay, Siddharth. One more minute. Okay, just one more minute. In a democracy, every citizen must be able to play equal role in decision making. For this, you don't need just an equal right to vote, but also we should get equal information, basic education, equal resources, etc. Understood? So, in a broader meaning, we can say that we can say that there is no country in this world is a perfect democracy. Okay, the features of democracy that we discussed in this chapter provide only the minimum condition. We cannot say that India, for example, is a proper democratic country. Okay, when we have learning the features, or when we have learning the drawbacks, we understood that none of the country we can call them as a perfect democratic country. Okay, this cannot be achieved once and for all. This requires a constant effort. And here, the role of the citizen is very, very important. Okay, not only the elected representative, even the role of the citizen is very, very important. Here we can see that most democratic government would like citizen not to take part in politics, but democracy depends on active political participation of all the citizens. If all the citizens are actively participating, we can make the democratic government a perfect democratic government. If we are not interfering in the political affairs, we cannot call them as proper or perfect democratic. That is the final the conclusion we are learning from this chapter. So the first chapter completely it's over today. So this chapter we have discussed about the definition of democracy. What are the features of democracy? What are the merits, demerits, and the last, what is democratic and non-democratic government? Distinguish between democratic and non-democratic government. And also we have discussed direct democracy and indirect democracy. And last point we have learned about what is a broader meaning of democracy. Broader meaning, we can say that true democracy will come to this country only when no one goes hungry to bed. And the next point what I have discussed. Okay, these are the main concepts we have to learn from this chapter. Along with that, I have discussed with you so many countries, why these countries cannot be called as democratic. That also you have to keep in mind by learning this chapter.